What's up, members of the barrio? It's John, coming to you from the meatpacking district of Manhattan, and we're standing in front of the HighLine, which many tourists consider a must-visit when you come to New York City. So to help you out, we're going to be sharing the history, what to do, and even some insider tips. Here we go, the ultimate guide to visiting the HighLine. Guys, make sure to check out our other New York City playlist, linked down below in the description. Let's go. Your first question might be, what is the HighLine? It's a 1.45-mile elevated greenway running from the meatpacking district all the way to Hudson Yards. It has over 500 species of plants, trees, plenty of art, and a whole lot to do. This is 10th Ave, and in the mid-19th century, it was known as Death Avenue because so many people were hit by trains that were running right through here. In fact, it got so bad, they had to hire actual cowboys, who they called Westside Cowboys, to be riding in front of the trains with flags to warn people about incoming trains, and they still needed to do something else. The solution was the HighLine, a higher train track which would run parallel to the west side of Manhattan. The first train started running in 1933 to deliver freight to the many factories along the way, and it had its boom up until the 1960s when trucking started to make the trains here obsolete. It had its last ride in 1980, and then it sat dormant for over 20 years. In fact, if you were coming here in the 90s or most of the 2000s, you would have just seen an overgrown, abandoned train track. A non-profit group called the Friends of the HighLine fought hard to have this area preserved, and in 2009, after 3 years of construction, the HighLine was open to the public, and 10 years later, it's one of the most popular tourist attractions in New York City. In fact, it was actually inspired by the Promenade Plein in Paris, which opened in 1993 and is pretty similar in concept. I highly recommend you download the app called the HighLine. All of the art installations, nature, the lookout points, all that information is on here. It's gonna make your trip a lot more informative. If you're interested, heck, I'm gonna take a lot of the information for this video from the app. So this is the first stop on our tour, the Tiffany & Co. Foundation Overlook. You can just peek your head out, see the meatpacking district and the Whitney Museum to our right. Standing in front of Hector's Cafe and Diner, which is open 24 hours. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because this diner has a lot of cinema history. In fact, all of the diner scenes in the movie Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro were shot inside. It's been featured in Law & Order. And in the 1930s, it used to open up at 2 o'clock in the morning so that the employees of the neighborhood meat packing plants could come in and have a meal. One of the first places you walk on the HighLine is called the Gansevoort Woodland, and it looks a little bit nicer with perfect fall foliage, but something to note is when you look out to the side, you see one of the only remaining meat packing plants down there. This area used to be full of them, hence the name Meatpacking District. So this is one of my favorite art exhibits on the HighLine. It's called Four Arches, and as you walk by each of the four arches, it's supposed to symbolize a different season. Very cool. This is the 14th Street Passage, and while you may not notice it if you're walking on the right side, if you come to the left side, they have a projector going. It's called the HighLine Channel, and they showcase a lot of different artists on there. So if the weather's nice, a little cold today, but sit down, enjoy whatever they've got going on screen. All right, guys, it is cold out, but I assure you, on a nice warm day, this is the spot you want to come to sunbathe. This is called the Diller von Furstenberg Sundeck and Water Feature. I think it's most well known for these amazing chairs just to relax, but they call it the water feature as well because during the warmer months, there's water running on the other side. You see little kids sometimes running over it, playing with it, and they put that special feature there because when this was actually a working railroad track, water would naturally accumulate there, so it was a little bit of a homage to that. right behind me is the Chelsea Market passageway, and that's what this area is most well known for. Chelsea Market, the most famous food market in New York City. Highly recommend you visit just to stop by Los Tacos #1. The best tacos, not in New York City, but in Manhattan. But did you know that this whole area here used to be owned by the National Biscuit Company, also known as Nabisco, where legend has it the Oreo cookie was invented right here. Unfortunately, they left the area in 1959 to move to Fairlawn, New Jersey, where ironically enough, I was born and raised right over the Hudson River. Little history for you guys. We are at the 10th Avenue Square in Overlook. This is probably my favorite spot in the entire HighLine just because it takes people watching to the next level. You look through the glass here and you're staring down on 10th Avenue and you just see regular New York City life from above. It's a different perspective, and truth be told, it's like live theater right on the HighLine. Very cool stuff.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, and smile.
It's ridiculous. I'm just getting too famous. So when you walk up the steps from the Overlook, turn left, and there's a really cool little view, the Statue of Liberty in the distance. A lot of people don't even realize it. This is an interesting part of the HighLine. It's called Chelsea Thicket. A couple of really neat things going on. One is you see the railroad tracks very distinctly running next to it. You've got trees growing directly over the tracks, and you also have a lot of the leaves from the trees hanging down below, so it gives you a feeling like you're walking through a forest. Definitely one of my favorite paths on the HighLine. A lot of people are stopping here to stare at this clock, which actually doesn't have any numbers on it. It's called Silent Agitator, and the clock says organization. It actually speaks to the rights of industrial workers around the world, and I think it's pretty neat. We're at the Falcone Flyover, and I find one thing super distinctive about this little 2-block stretch. Look how big these leaves are falling off the trees. You come face to face with the trees as you're walking here, and if you look on either side, you might just see some really cool art installations as we're passing Chelsea, which is one of the biggest art districts in the entire city. This is the 26th Street viewing spur. A lot of people are taking photos here. You can overlook 10th Ave and 26th, but it's actually designed in a way where they used to hang billboards here over the HighLine when it wasn't in use, like it is right now. So it kind of brings back that effect a little bit. The Crossroads of the HighLine. This is actually the widest part of the park, and the X right here, this bench signifies where the path goes from north to south to east to west. It's very subtle. Most people don't even realize it's here. And also behind me you have the Shed, which is the newest and like the hottest new spot to see performances in New York City. And we're going to be approaching the Vessel really soon as well at Hudson Yards. Guys, we are standing in front of the Spur, which is the final part of the HighLine to be open. And ironically enough, it's actually closed the entire weekend, so we can't really show you it, but it extends that way. And when it's open, you can see skyscrapers. They also are going to have a lot of art exhibits over there. These are the Pershing square beams, and this is really just a place for kids to run around and go over under the beams. I guess it feels like you're playing at a railroad track in a safe way, of course. So if you have kids, bring them right here. I love the HighLine, and I love how the landscape changes depending on what street you're on. As we're approaching the end, we're at the Interim Walkway. There's some crazy Soviet sounding music playing, but if you look here, you see what the HighLine would have looked like in the 90s and the 2000s when it didn't have any use, when it was abandoned. It gives you that kind of a vibe. It's wild and it blends into the landscape. This is one of my new favorite spots to come on the HighLine for sure. Of course, you have this amazing view of the vessel in the distance. Everybody is stopping to take a picture. If you don't know what the vessel is, it's at Hudson Yards. We did a whole video explaining it. Check that video out for details on how to get inside of it. Totally worth a trip. And the HighLine, well, it's totally worth the walk. We made it 22 blocks. We're at the end, the CXX transportation gate, the only spot of the HighLine that's at street level. And I barely broke a sweat. I mean, what a scenic walk. And although this is one of the most touristy things to do in New York City, honestly, I love what they have done to the HighLine, turning something abandoned into something that the public can come and enjoy with all the art and all the nature here. This is a can't miss when you come to New York City. Guys, tell me down below in the comments what you think of the HighLine. What is your favorite thing to do here? I'm curious. And also, make sure to check out our other New York City playlists, all linked down below in the description. Special thanks to my camera guy, Ben. Thank you for watching. Until next time. I think I'm done, man. You do the rest of the video. Leave me.
Yeah.
Leave me.